Okay, cool. All right, y'all. So, welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Green with your favorite hostess with the mostest, your girl Ems. And today, I have my very good sis, Lydia, here with us, joining us on the podcast today. I'm gonna start off by letting her introduce herself. She'll give y'all a good rundown, my good sis. Give us a good rundown. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, all the good things.
So, my name is Lydia. I am a health coach located in Dallas. Little bit of my testimony, I just grew up like a super shy, insecure, overweight girl, and then throughout just different experiences in life, I was led to health and wellness. And I've worked in a lot of different settings, and I've done a lot of different things. And through content creation, I kind of got to a point where I was at a low and just very shallow, very vain. Fitness can be very vain. And I hit a low point, and through that low point, I was able to meet the Lord, have a radical encounter with God, and I gave my life to Christ in 2023. I got baptized, and ever since then, I have been building a business and a foundation in faith and working with women to help them love themselves from the inside out.
I know that's right. You better, Sister Raw. So, um, going to that low point, like tell us a little bit about what you experienced in that low point and what you learned, which you touched on it, but just tell us a little bit about like what you learned at that low point.
So I commonly say that I was actually my most miserable when I was my leanest. A lot of times that we see people on social media and we're like, wow, this person is so fit, they have their lives together, and we just assume that they're happy, and that's not always the case. So because I hadn't done the work internally to learn to love myself, fitness, although it built good habits that were good for my health, what was fueling the workouts was essentially like revenge and just feeling the need to prove myself.
Yeah.
And so that catches up to you because once you hit that goal and you think it's going to feel a certain way and it doesn't, it's a very shocking, deep hurt that happens. So I'm getting followers at the time, I'm growing, I'm going to all these fitness events, I'm meeting people, and I'm also like, having the body that I should enjoy, but you get there and then the goalpost just continues to move forward and move forward and move forward. And I had that shocking moment where it was like, okay, this is where I thought I was going to be happy. And now I just see that I have even further to go because you're searching for that feeling of like, this is it. But without God, it's just a continuous like rat race. So that shocking realization to my core kind of brought me to this point where I was just like, what is the point of all this? Like, what's the point of working out? What's the point of building a following? What's the point of even being a health coach? Because I'm watching my clients lose weight and they're still insecure. Like they lost 40 pounds and they're still criticizing their bodies. Not everybody, but some of them would. And it would make me sad. And I'm like, dang, am I really helping them? Because I also don't feel confident most of the time. And I feel like a lot of things that I do are for performance or for validation. And so I just was miserable. I was like in the clubs and the sections. At that time, I really was into like professional athletes. I wanted to be around the rappers and IG models. Like I wanted that lifestyle so bad, and it was just so lonely and so just like shallow, and just there was no substance to it. And so I wanted something deeper and I wanted something more, and I just got to a low point where I just was like, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
And so at that time I was online coaching and in-person training. I let go of all of my online clients. I stopped posting on social media because I was like, if 99% men were my insights at the time. And I was like, so if
Wow.
all these men are following me and I'm not even making a difference, in women's lives, like what's the point? So I stopped posting and I would just throw in a smile. I would go train my clients and I would come home and get right back in my bed. And this happened for months at a time. And being a person who's always happy, that was very
Girl.
shocking for me. That was the first time that I've ever experienced like actual mental health, like depression.
Yeah.
And so it's very real. And basically in my room, I don't really remember what it was that kind of led me to start seeking the Lord, but I remember I just started to like have these moments where I would like read my Bible, I would talk to God and pray, and I would just crave more of his presence. And I remember asking my stories a poll like, what church do y'all go to? I think I want to visit a church. And most people said Social Dallas. And so I ended up going to Social Dallas, and I had such a great experience my first time that I just kept going. And I honestly went there for years, before I've switched this year to a different church. But I really am just grateful for just the whole season of my life. And then that's when everything just started to change for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I think for a lot of the people who are on their health and fitness journey, and who a lot of people that might have just started their journey, um, I always tell people, because I have the same experience, like almost around the same experience too. Like I was, going for like the physical part, and a lot of people say, yeah, the physical is the most important, because if you look good, then you feel good. And although that can play a part, but it's when you get to that point and you've been in health and fitness for so long, it's just like, okay, there's something deeper to this. And I feel like that's what God actually like reveals in a certain part of your journey. Well, I'll say for myself, and like I said, it was just something deeper, where it's like, okay, now it's not just about physical, it's about your mental, it's about your spiritual, and the spiritual part is the most important part.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people just get to that point where like they just want to look good, and it's way deeper than that. You want to make sure that you're able to play with your kids um down the line. Like, this is a lifestyle thing. It's not temporary, and it's not just a one quick one and done thing either.
yeah,
So I like that you talk about the overall holistic part of health and wellness in
for sure.
general. Yeah.
Yeah,
um so as far as when it comes to just overall, I know you stated, like, you had that turning point in just like how things are looking now for you. In this season, like, how do you feel like things are shifting for you? Where do you feel like God is taking you within your health and fitness journey, and just overall your journey in general?
that's a good question. Honestly, right now it's really fascinating that we're talking about this because I'm literally in the midst of it. So a lot of times trainers will tell you that I've been told this as well, that there's no way to lose weight without tracking. And this is so
Mm.
random that we're talking about this, but yeah, like I have been tracking my food literally for like 8 years, like on and off, which is insane to say out loud. But it kind of got to a point where I had a really hard year last year where that resulted in me gaining weight, that resulted in me binging consistently for the first time. It consisted of me losing a lot of things last year. It consisted of me, for the first time, not enjoying being at the gym
Mm.
most of the time. And I've never experienced this before. So I'm watching myself gain weight and I'm like, dang, like I'm working out and I'm, doing the things, but I literally feel so stressed out and I feel like I'm trying to control, almost like I would compare my life to like a fire, and I'm trying to like put out all these different fires, like little fires starting everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know exactly why all of that happened. So essentially, I think that because when I went into fitness for all the wrong reasons, I reduced everything to numbers. Like I reduced a lot of things in my life to, like, whether it be a number on the scale, a number in your body fat, number of protein, number of calories, everything's a number. And I didn't grow up in a household where I was taught little tips on how to like maintain your weight, or I didn't grow up in a household with healthy food or with healthy habits. Like I just grew up being able to do essentially kind of what I wanted to do. And so I had no sense of like portion control. I had no sense of like, this is why you should eat this healthy thing, or how to pay attention to how my body felt versus doing things for it to look a certain way. So now in my fitness journey, I deleted my tracking app, And I kind of gave myself a little buffer of like 3 to 4 weeks to get used to not tracking because I knew that was going to be like a new experience. So I was like, I might get fluffy, I might gain, I might lose. I don't know what that's going to look like. So I gave myself about a month to kind of get regulated. And now I'm on this journey of like being very present with everything, just when I eat and just different things. Cause for me, the working out came easy, was always the food. And
Mm-hmm.
I would eat relatively healthy, but I'm just a person who eats a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and also when you're moving and doing different things, you're hungrier. So
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware of like those little hints and tips on how to like regulate and how to get these things in without it being this forceful counting scientific process, you know? And I want to go through this so I can teach my clients that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I hired a couple of coaches and they told me the same thing. You can't lose weight without tracking. And they were brilliant coaches, but I was like, Lord, I think you're trying to teach me something new. I think that you're trying to teach me something new about food and you're trying to teach me something different about wellness that people might not even be aware of right now. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I have to go through this with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can show me something for me to walk other people through it. And so that's essentially what's been happening. And I've restructured my schedule. Like now I understand different things that play into gluttony. And I understand,
Girl.
like, just one thing, for example, there's so much power in going to bed early. Like that and waking up earlier, that is such a life hack.
Girl, I be trying to tell folks. People be thinking I'm crazy. Like, now keep in mind, like, yes, I be up at like at 4 o'clock going to the gym, but there's power, like you said, in going to sleep early. Like, what time you be going to bed?
For me, early is by 10. That's early for
I be
me.
going to bed at like 8:30.
That's good, but that's good. I can't because I have some things at 6 and 7 p.m. But
Okay, okay,
yeah, so 10 is like relatively early because then if you wake up at 6 a.m., it's not a big deal.
okay, yeah,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying? But 6 a.m. is still early.
yeah.
So I'm trying to get like you. She be up at 4 a.m. I'm trying, but it's different when a coach tells you, I want you to get 8 hours of sleep and
Mm-hmm,
you focus on the number
mm-hmm.
and feeling like, okay, I need to go to bed because I can feel like my body feels better when I regulate my sleep. And so I'm going through things where the best way I can describe it is I'm learning how to just be versus how to just strive and count and have all these numbers and do all these things. I already went through that process of learning and now I'm in the process of just being. You know, I'm like, Lydia, you already know about sleep, you already know about all these things, but I'm actually learning how to just do it.
Yeah.
And it's been beautiful because my food noise is gone. So I used to have
Ooh.
food noise, like all the tracking and binging and my weight going up and down, all things. Like I would have food noise, like food. I would always be thinking about like what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat. I shouldn't have ate that. I should eat that. What should I eat for dinner to make sure that I'm hitting my numbers? What should I do? How would that affect my body? Am I gonna wake up looking skinny tomorrow? Like I was constantly
That
having food
anxiety,
noise. Yes, constantly having
girl.
food noise. I have no food noise. My emotions and everything have been regulated. I'm chilling. I'm making healthier decisions, but still living my life, and I'm still seeing results. And I've been going to the gym and loving it for the first time in a while. So
Wow.
I've been seeing huge movements in my wellness journey by just trusting the Lord and walking this thing through Him day by day. So, fitness wise, that's what's happening. And then, long story short, when it comes to my training, basically, the Lord told me that I asked Him, I was like, why did I lose so much last year? And just friendships, relationship, the gym that I was working at, just a lot of stuff that was really, really hard on me. And I was like, why did I lose all this stuff? And He told me necessary endings. And I was like, and I literally read in my notes this morning, I journaled that day. And he said, necessary endings because I want to do a new thing in you and in your life. And I didn't understand that at the time. Fast forward to this year, I look up necessary endings and what that means. And there's actually a book by Dr. Henry Cloud. He's the same guy who wrote the book Boundaries. And this book is basically teaching people how to know when a season is up and how to get good at ending things the right way.
I know that's right. What's the right way?
normalizing ending things. There can't be a fall without summer ending. So if you're holding on to summer, you can never get to fall. So there's a natural season, there's a natural flow of life, there's a natural beginning and ending of things. So if you're not normalizing endings in your mind, then every ending is going to be traumatic for you. And endings were traumatic for me.
Girl.
And now I'm at a point where in my business, in my life, in my relationships, in my friendships, the Lord has stripped away my business, just like everything, and gave me all new ideas, all new clients, all new people, just different levels of friendships. He's just been like building me. He's been building me honestly since 2023, but really this year, he's been reestablishing a foundation in my life where everything in my life is stuff that he gave me versus before it was stuff that Lydia got on her own out of fear, out of, attachment, fear of abandonment, just different things. Like he removed all of that last year and completely gave me a new reality this year. And so right now I'm just in a place where I just don't really worry about tomorrow. And I'm like, Lord, everything that I have literally came from you. So I have to go to you about it.
Girl, y'all, that was beautiful. Child, look, I always preach and tell people how important for one it is to just be present because like you had talked about earlier, just like trying to control things. And I know for myself, like I'm just a type of person. I think I sometimes I feel like it's a black woman thing, but we tend to try to just like control stuff sometimes a bit, girl, because I girl it's generation, it's truly generational for me. I know it's generational,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that you brought that up because it's just like we get to controlling stuff and gotta be and to be like, okay, big dog, you got it. So it's just like slowly trying to learn how to let God drive the boat. And when He strips everything from you, where you literally have no choice but to just follow Him, it's a humbling experience. So I like that you talk about that. And I think for a lot of us, we're now in a season where being in the word is going to get you to, or it's literally in your mind will cause, I'm trying to see what I'm trying to say. It gets you to a point where you have to be in your word to know how he's speaking to you and know which way to go. So I want you to take or talk a little bit more about like maybe a scripture that you meditate on or that you resonate with when it comes to when you notice yourself trying to control things.
Mm.
What do you do to help shift your focus?
Um, I'll say there's a couple parts of that. So the Lord will show me the same scripture or the same passage over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'll know that I need to study that
Mm-hmm.
because there's something that He wants to give me to hold on to for that season. So I'm not a person that just like reads my Bible chapters and chapters. Like, I don't know how my friends do it. Like,
Girl.
when I tell you that I will be stuck on a scripture or a chapter for a while and I'll be studying it. So I might
Mhm.
stay on one place for like a month,
Yeah.
but I know it though,
But you know it
so I
though.
study it more so that way. So I'm still going through my Bible and studying different things, but the Lord will literally show me what to read.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how he speaks to me. I will say that I have learned to use the word as a weapon. The Bible talks about the word is our sword, right? So when you think about going through life and you think about attacks and you think about even just anxious thoughts, right? Like you have anxious thoughts in a day, you have thoughts that are negative, you have thoughts that are not loving to yourself, you have thoughts that are demonic seeds that were planted throughout your life that have become a core value that you continue to replay in your head. So when these things come, how do you fight? With the word. So there are some verses that he has given me over time to help me fight for what's coming. So there's different verses and there's different things that I've learned that I will use in my mind to counteract different things. So like let's say the devil tries to tell you that you're going to be a loser and that you're not going to have a career and that you're going to, be broke and be homeless, whatever crazy things he tries to tell you. I know you love Jeremiah 29:11. So
Girl,
I know you
that's
know.
so
Yeah. So it's just like
wild.
when you get those thoughts, you literally in that moment have to say, for God knows the plans that He has for me, plans to prosper me and not to harm me. That's a lie. I rebuke that.
Hmm.
That might sound very churchy, but it's really that serious.
Yeah.
Because like if if the enemy tries to tell you like, man, I look ugly, I look fat today, and you literally battle that and you say like, the Lord knit me in my mother's womb, like I'm made in His image, I'm chosen, I'm called,
Yeah.
like these things, I'm worth far more than rubies. Like when you say these things to yourself, and you actually have to sometimes say it out loud, say it in your mind over
Hmm.
and over and over. And what I'm doing is I'm warring for my mind,
Yeah.
I'm warring in the spirit for my mind. When you say the word out loud, it comes to life. So it's just it's an actual battle that happens in your mind. And then after you keep doing that, it becomes a habit, just like anything else.
Hmm.
So I will say that that's definitely a part of it. And then when you talked about controlling, I definitely think that that's something that women struggle with a lot more than men. I'm just being real.
Girl, but okay,
And
tell, or if you can share, if you know anything, share why you feel that way.
I think I talked to my dad about this actually. I realized my dad was actually right about a lot of things. So basically, in the church, I think that we do a big job. I won't say good or bad, a big job of highlighting men's lust. Right? Like we love to talk about that. We do.
Girl,
And it's a thing that
yes.
is bad. It is. It's a sin, right?
Yeah.
But we always overlook what women struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think that we're a lot more sneaky with what we struggle with. I think that we struggle with pride. I think that we struggle with manipulation. I think that we struggle with vices that are not maybe not as sexual as men, but they're still in different ways. Like, let's say that this guy watches, on the internet whenever he's struggling with something, and we love to talk about that. But if you go and you go eat, it's the same thing.
Yep.
Gluttony
Hmm.
is the same thing. So, but in society, we've normalized gluttony. We've normalized, um, even women being controlling, like the demonic statement of happy wife, happy life. Like
Girl.
that is such a common thing that was ingrained into our brains where it's like cater to your wife or everything, is hell on earth. And it's like that's not fair and that's also not biblical. We're called to serve each other,
That part.
and there is favor, whenever a man chooses a wife, there is favor that's added to his life. But to say that we set the tone in that way and to put such a big focus on our happiness diminishes their happiness, and that's not fair. And so I think that, and also just trauma, like, there's a lot of women who are single mothers, because of a lack of leadership by men leaving and
Yeah.
different things. And so when you're in those circumstances, you have to do what you have to do. And so you're used to making a lot of decisions. So it can be hard to
Girl.
pass over the reins, right? But the thing that I like to say is everybody like winces away at the term of being submissive as a woman. No one likes that word. But that is actually such a beautiful thing that God created. And I think that if you want to learn how to be more submissive, or if you read that verse and you know that that's what God has called us to do, the best way to learn is to submit to God. You're
Yeah.
supposed to submit to God for the rest of your life. He's supposed to be first over your husband, anyways. So, learning to submit to God now is supposed to be a lifetime skill. So,
Hmm.
the sooner you do it, the better your life is going to be, first of all. But what happens is when you learn to submit to God, you learn how to submit to your husband because you're used to giving the reins over to God. You're used to submitting to his plans and not yours. You're used to going with the flow. You're used to being more flexible. You're used to not being attached to results. You're used to doing things and leaning not to your own understanding, as the
Oh,
Bible says,
yeah.
but, to submit to the Lord. Like, you're used to doing these things because you're putting them in practice now. I
Mhm.
touched on earlier how right now I have zero expectations for tomorrow.
That
I've
part.
never been in this place before. I've never been this place. I've always had a plan. I've always been that person who was driven. I always knew my next steps. I always cared about results. I evaluated everything. But God has reframed the way that I think. And I've built such a trust for Him, and I've built such a love and such an honor and such a reference for the Lord, where it's like, I trust Him more than I trust myself. And then
Girl.
it's like now, and also I
Mm,
trust His order of things.
yeah.
So there are some times where He might tell me to do something and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that I'm doing right now that I don't want to do.
That's how it be for the most time.
Yes, like half the places that I be doing, people might be impressed by it. I'm terrified. I don't want to do the things that I'm doing sometimes,
Yeah.
but I've learned that I can trust Him. And
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that even though I might not get it and I might not see it, I still can submit and trust Him and just see. And I think that that's going to be so beautiful one day in my future marriage, because there's going to be times where your husband might, you know what I'm saying, say something that you might not agree with or make a decision you might not agree with, but he might
Yeah.
know what's best. And there also might be some times where he might get it wrong.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I want to create an environment for him to make mistakes.
That
He's
part.
allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to penalize him for making mistakes and being a human, because he's also learning how to be a leader. It's his first time learning how to do that as well. So
Yeah.
it's like you have to give people freedom to make mistakes. So
Yeah.
I think I think that if you want to get out of a mindset, out of a routine of control, first of all, submit to the Lord and get used to submitting to the Lord, giving it to Him. And I would just say, like, get used to like things not going your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever someone gives you a suggestion, listen,
Yeah.
just try it.
Yeah.
Just be open minded and just try it and just see what happens. You might be surprised. You might actually be wrong. If you've ever been wrong before, you can be wrong again.
Yeah.
So if you always have that mindset of, I can always be wrong, I always have that in my mind. I've
Mm-hmm.
been wrong before when I thought I was right, when I swore I was right,
Mm-hmm.
which means that from now on, I cannot move like I'm 100% going to be
That
right.
part.
There's always a chance that you can be wrong about anything.
Yep. Girl. Jesus. So if anything, can you, because I know you recently just did a shoot um with like with the Proverbs 31 shirt.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what it means to truly be a Proverbs 31 woman, and maybe for the girlies that are trying to prepare to get married, and what submitting to God looks like.
So there's a lot of qualities. There's a lot of different women in the Bible. We like to in the church like always use the Proverbs 31 woman for some
Yeah,
reason.
look, yeah.
But yeah, it's just a series of verses talking about a woman of noble character. And it's just a beautiful just chapter to study. But I think in general, people use that as a framework or a template for a godly woman. So when you ask me that question, it makes me think of total what a godly woman is. When I think about a godly woman, I think about a woman who puts God above everything, including herself. So when you think about all the aspects of what it means to be a woman, even preparation for marriage, like the way that I even see marriage is different now.
Girl.
I don't know, like everything in life, everything that God created is to give him glory. So even the purpose of marriage is for ministry and
Yep.
for giving God glory. That changes even how you choose people.
Girl.
Because it's like if dating to you is, oh, he's got to be this tall, he's got to look this way, he's got to make money, he has to be a
You
provider,
in for a rude
he has to
awakening.
do this, he has to do that. Okay, if that is how you have reduced relationships to, then you're already starting about it wrong. Marriage is supposed to give God glory. So if you look at it through the lens of that, God created sex, God created marriage.
Mhm.
So it's like if God created those things, you have to do them according to his way.
Right.
If you buy a car and it's a Honda, you have to look at the Honda manual to figure out how to work that Honda. So you can't do things that God has created out of his design for it.
Mm-hmm.
So start with that, where it's like, how did God design everything? What is the way that God wants things? So when you look at relationships, right? And you look at even just courting and just getting married, right? If you're doing things God's way, it's actually very simple.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to sex, we're not supposed to be having it if we're not married. Yeah, it's hard. I get it. Yeah. And it might be, I know some people are afraid that they won't find somebody. There are men out there, there are women out there that are abstinent that honor
Mm-hmm.
their bodies in that way.
Right.
So, not supposed to be having sex when it comes to even just marriage, like aligning your purposes. Go to the Lord about this person. Is this person good for me? And He'll tell you. And make sure you listen.
Oh, listening is the one because we be praying, God, if you give me, if you let me see a red card, please let me know if this is like y'all. He for one, he just and I feel like sometimes we try to overthink and try to what's the word? We try to overuse or misuse like God speaking to us or like confirmation.
Yeah,
And it's just like, y'all, God is really like he's simple, like he's not the author of confusion. So he gonna tell you
that part.
and you got to listen.
Yeah.
Now yeah, go ahead. Keep going, Sister
No,
Pearl.
that's I was literally gonna say that he's not the author of confusion. Like whenever things come from him, it's divine. You're gonna know it's from him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but sometimes we hold on to things very tightly. I always think about that picture where it's like Jesus and there's like a little girl, and the little girl has a bear and she's crying because she doesn't want to give Jesus the bear, but he's holding a way bigger bear behind his back. So all he's asking for is the little bear so he can give her a bigger one. It's that trust, it's that surrender, it's that release of control, how we talked about. So I just think even when it comes down to like, let's talk about clothes, right? Like there are things that society might say you should do this and you should do that. Okay, let's put that to the side for a second and let's just ask a simple question of, does this honor the Lord? Like when it comes to going to the gym or going out or whatever, and let's say that you want to dress more modestly, that's something that I got convicted on, right? I remember I used to have the thought process of men should control themselves, their dogs and all these things, right? Until I met men that were actually good men. And I
Yeah.
met men who were abstinent, and I got to hear their thoughts on what they go through when they go to the gym and when they go to these places and they see these women. These are good men. These are not the men that are dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not those men. If there's a man and he struggles with lust or whatever, hearing his experience about how he battles going to the gym, how he maneuvers these places, I was just like, dang, like, and you're actually trying. So I
Yeah.
would hate to be a person who causes you to stumble or fall. And the Bible talks about being a stumbling block for people. You're
Girl.
held accountable for when you cause others to sin.
Yeah.
So it's that love for my brother in Christ. It's not like pick me behavior. It's not catering to men. It's not even that. It's just having a heart where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, not everybody is operating like some of these guys. Some of these men are actually good men.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's one side of it for them, for others to serve. But also when it comes to myself, like if I actually feel confident within myself, why am I doing this? And I noticed I did a little experiment where I was like, I'm gonna start dressing modest for like a month and just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was more comfortable during my workouts because I'm not having to adjust my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
My workouts were better and I felt beautiful. It was weird. I remember just being like, this is so weird because I actually feel very beautiful. And like the way that people treated me was different.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever women would talk to me and they gave me a compliment, I feel like it was a deeper compliment. And like whenever
Mm.
men would compliment me or whenever they would see me, the way that they would react to me, they treated me with more respect. And it was just like a different reality. And
Yeah.
that's a part of it externally, but internally, when I asked myself, how do I feel? I felt better. I did.
Yeah.
I felt better. I felt like I don't know, I felt like I was honoring myself. I never questioned if this outfit was too much or whatever. And it caused me to be more creative with my outfits because I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, before the skin was what spoke,
Yeah.
the shape is what spoke. But now it's like, okay, how can I structure this fit? So I just think when it comes to being a godly woman, when you think about what are you saying? What do you say? Like, how do I talk? I've been cussing since I was 5 years old. And to this day, that's something that is not 100% out of me. When I tell you that I went from like every other word to like now, it might be like once a month,
Right.
and it's on accident
Mhm.
because I'm, intentional about that. I'm intentional about not complaining, not being negative, not gossiping. These are all things that I'm trying to purify through my lips because I don't want to have the power of life or death in my tongue and be speaking death.
Girl, yeah.
So it's like, what are you saying? Where are you going? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Are you at the club? You know what I'm saying? You at the club, then you at church. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, it's like, where are you going? What friends are you around? Are you surrounding yourself with women who are virtuous, who are about things, who will keep you accountable and actually tell you about yourself? If you wanted to stop drinking today, are they the friends that are going to be mad about it? Or are they the friends that are going to say, you know what, I'll do it with you? I support
Yeah.
you. It's like, who are you around? And it's just like, how do you spend your time? Are you plugged into a church? Do you have an older woman, an older married couple speaking life into you, mentoring you, discipling you? And then when it comes to dating, are you laying with this man? Is this man somebody that can lead you to Christ, or is he leading you to hell?
That's the
So it's just like you breaking down all these different areas, and it's like, when I look at every area of my life, how am I honoring the Lord? Am I worshiping myself? Am I building material things on this earth that will die when I die? Or am I actually building something? Am I giving myself eternal life in Christ? Am I leading people to Christ? Am I leading people to righteousness? Or am I leading people to hell?
girl. That's the one. Girl,
That's so
that's the one.
it's a lot more than Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really like being a living vessel of Christ. It's being a living, walking example of Christ, being a light to this dark earth. That's literally what it comes down to.
That was beautifully spoken, sis. I do have one last question for you. Um, for the girlies that are just like feeling, with one, because I do want to, of course, highlight with you or you being an entrepreneur, and then also to just like putting this all together. What advice do you have to give for the women who may feel stuck in this season, or who may feel like they just lost all hope in like their health and wellness journey, or they may want to be an entrepreneur but they don't really know how that looks like or where to start. Give I guess a little bit of light or tip for them.
Okay, well, I'll start with the entrepreneur side of things. If you desire to be an entrepreneur, my first question is why? Because it's not for everybody. It looks glamorous on social media, but it's not. So if I truly believe that it's not for everybody, I think that some people thrive in the structure of a job and somebody else having that responsibility. It's not for everybody. Um, I would say, first of all, really get in touch with your why. Why do you want to have a business? Are you actually trying to go out and make the world a better place? You know, you can't just do it for the hours or for the potential to make money. Because I've seen entrepreneurship chew people up and spit them out.
Girl.
Because the one thing about entrepreneurship that nobody tells you is you have to face yourself and you have to make it out. So if you're lazy, you're really going to see it. If nobody is forcing you to be at work at 9 and you think you're going to sleep until noon every day, good luck. You think that it's amazing to clock out at 5 and just put your brain over there. That's not a thing for entrepreneurs. It's always going. You have to learn to put those boundaries on your own mind. Okay? And then it's so much. Whenever you have a low, your money has a low, depending on what you do. So it's a lot. It's not glamorous, but it is amazing. And I would definitely never, ever, ever change. I knew that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur because school and just like jobs just did not feel right. Like, I hated the structure of it. I hated just being somewhere at a certain time and leaving. Everything about it just gave me the ick. Like, I truly hated the job force. I was great at it, but I truly have hated it since even high school. Just the structure of that has never felt right to me. And I've always liked risk. I've always liked to grow. I love accountability. I love getting better at things. I love going against myself and like coming out better. I love that. Like I feel like everything in me was supposed to be an entrepreneur. So I would say why and like what's the purpose of this business? Is it to help people? Is it, is there a message behind it? Or is it just for your own personal, I don't know, I guess comfort? Because that's the opposite of what you're going to get. But I would say the best way to start, some people just jump. Some people just jump and go for it. Some people keep their job and build up their business until it equals their bills. And then they'll fully make the transition after they consistently make that money. So that's a very safe way to transition financially. I just jumped out the plane. I just dove. I just
I know a lot of folks that do that though. A lot of
yeah.
people do that, and I mean, like you said, but I think the main thing that you touched on that I try to tell people is entrepreneur. Like you said, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Like the amount of discipline that you have to have. Like entrepreneurship will teach you character building, like how to build. Like it will teach you character skills or like just like those foundational life skills that you need. And some people, like you said, some people ain't meant for it, some people are, and you have to have those because mama ain't gonna be there wake you up. Time to get up. Like no, it's
Yeah.
not that. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to have discipline to be able to get your behind up and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah, we got a lot of bills over here. You get a lot of bills, a lot of bills. You pay for a lot of stuff. And everything is your fault. Everything is your fault. It is.
And honestly,
Yeah. If you offer somebody a service and they're not happy, even if you did your best, it's still your fault.
yeah, and that's one thing too. Like going back to the character stuff. Like
Yes.
some things you will have to sit with yourself and say like, all right, girl, like yeah, it brings a lot of like humility, and for one,
For
it
sure.
will just say like, hey, girl, like you not perfect.
Yeah.
You will tend to mess. I think that's what stops a lot of people on their
Yeah.
entrepreneurship journey is just like fear of like messing up.
Yeah.
And you will anything that you're doing in life, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
It's just like how you bounce back from those challenges.
Yeah.
Um, the resilience, the perseverance, and
Yeah.
I'll say those are the main things. So I
Yeah.
like that you touch on that. When it comes to and I'm sorry because you touched on the business stuff.
Yes. And then what was the other part of the question, Mommy?
Just like for women who are either wanting to start their health and wellness journey, being stuck, what to do.
I would say start small. I think that a lot of us have like operate in very extreme mindsets where it's like I have to be all the way over here or all the way over there. And that's exactly your problem. Where it's like if you set the standard, I gotta be in the gym 4 or 5 days, I gotta lift, I gotta go heavy, I gotta do this, or I'm doing nothing. Or a lot of people have the mindset where it's like, I gotta go hard or I shouldn't even be here. And I'm like, where did you get that from?
Girl, but that's a girl. I'm trying to generational mindset, girl.
Yes, where did you get that from? I have had clients lose 50 pounds from walking every day, going for a 45-minute walk every day. Like, if you get 10,000 steps a day, that is huge. Really, it's 7,500. But yeah, so it's like, I would say start small. Like, it very much could literally be to just go for like a mental health walk. And you set a small goal, it could be 15 minutes. You ain't even got to start at 45, you can start at 15, but just be consistent with that 15. I had a client one time who would do a bunch of like 25-minute workouts, but she would do them 6 days a week. And she had more results than the people who thought that they had to go and be in there for an hour and do the most, because those people set such a high expectation for themselves that they weren't consistent. But because her workouts were fun and short, she would use her Peloton or go for a walk or whatever, she was consistent and she was getting results from that. So I would just say start small, maybe like a 15-minute walk or like a 15-minute YouTube video, and just start with that. Be consistent. And then when it comes to nutrition, try to just make what you want at home. So, like, I eat burgers, I eat wings, I eat fries, I eat all the things. I just make them at the crib.
No, but if y'all okay, I really need. I'm gonna say this at the end, but y'all please go follow Lydia, cause baby, Lydia be in the kitchen. I be sitting up looking at this. Like, now wait a minute. I need you to hold it down for yourself. Before we look at, keep going.
It's so wild people say that because I never think that. I just be making stuff. I didn't start cooking until I was in college.
Oh really?
Yes, I did not grow up in the kitchen. I did not grow up cooking. My mom, like, she cooks a little bit, but she's not like a cook, you know? So, like, she wasn't the type to fry chicken and all that. Like, that's not my mom. So, like, I really didn't start cooking until, like, honestly, a couple years ago. Like, actually, every day. I really didn't. But I will say the reason why I know what's good is because I grew up fat. I will say that.
Girl, but that's how a lot of people. That's how a lot of people learn though.
Yeah.
Girl.
And I went to all those fancy restaurants when I was trying to be a it girl. So I was like, I already know what they're putting on this, so I'm just gonna buy that for the crib.
Make it.
Exactly, exactly. So I already had like evolved taste buds, but yes. But yeah, like make more things at home. Like just make the burger at home. You can cut down on so many calories, so much money just by cooking at home more. Just drinking more water. Just start simple. Don't think you gotta meal prep and you gotta do all the most to start off with. You can really start small. So if you feel stuck or if you feel like you're in a place, first of all, pray about it. Invite the Lord into your journey and then start small. And you'll just see day by day if you just set such a not a low expectation, but if you just start simple and you don't put all that pressure on yourself. If you want to take a rest day, take a rest day. If you want to eat a cookie, eat a cookie. Like,
Eat them Nestle House cookies.
girl, yes.
Eat them cookies.
Yes, yes. Like just take all the pressure off of yourself and just be consistent and pay attention to how you feel after you do those things. Pay attention to how things make you feel. Because if you recognize that those things make you feel better, you'll want that feeling more.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, or if anything, to wrap things up, tell people where they can find you, and if they want to work with you, um, share all your socials, and just like a last minute tidbit that you have for the viewers.
I so you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lydia Irene. And then I still have yet to post my first YouTube video. We're gonna pray about that one. But we're gonna you can find me there. And then when it comes to my services, the Lord basically led me to create a bundle. It's called the Wholeness Bundle. So it's basically helping women become whole. And it combines in-person boot camps, it combines online, it combines community, and it is for people who live in Dallas and also not in Dallas. So if you don't live in Dallas, then you can just take off the boot camp portion of it and still be a part of the community and still get full coaching. So the wholeness bundle is the thing that I sell, it's the thing that I believe in, it's the thing that I believe is ministry. So if you want to work together, then that's something that you can just join. We would love to have you a part of the community.
All right, guys. Well, that's my good sis Lydia, and that is another episode of Keeping It Green with your favorite hostess. I love you, sister girl. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.